come together for a rootsman meditation.
Greetings, RC Bro here. I'm excited today because this is going to be the first video where we actually do some hands-on technical work. Remember, this channel is here to introduce young people to the technical aspects of electronics and mechanical engineering through the RC car hobby. So that being said, the objective of this video is to 1, introduce you to the upcoming projects that I have planned, and 2, to introduce you to some of the tools that we'll be using on a regular basis. As we go into the repair work and the modification work, I may break off and do some deep dives on certain aspects of the car to give you all a comprehensive knowledge of how things work. Okay, so up first is the DRC9201E. Yep, that's what it is. And so what we're going to do with this is a brushed 1/10, actually 1/12 scale RC car. And what we're going to do with this, we're going to upgrade it to from a brushed motor. This is a brushed 540 meter motor. We're going to upgrade it to a brushless 3650 motor. And so that's going to entail replacing the motor, the ESC, as well as the receiver and the transmitter. After that, we're going to work on the WL Toys, what is this? 124008. This is a 3S fast vehicle, and what happened with this was I ran into a curb. I was so excited about running it. I ran it in an area that wasn't large enough, and you may have heard in my other videos that that's not a good thing to do. You have to have space to run these cars, especially if they're fast. So I hit a curb. I didn't think I hit it that hard, but I hit it hard enough to damage both the control arms on the vehicle. So what I did was I purchased some more control arms, and I actually purchased the metal control arms. And so these are the control arms for the front and rear, and the hubs another part. So it's going to make it look real cool, and it's going to be real sturdy. And I'm not going to run into any curbs. I'm not going to drive the car unless I have a lot of space. So this is project number 2. The first project is an upgrade. This second project is a repair. And the third project is going to be on the DRC 9300, the Sandyland. This is a car that when I go and do demonstrations and exhibits, I let children run this one because it's very durable. However, at this point, it is having a problem in the differential. So the differential, I don't know if you'll be able to hear it, it's binding in there. The plastic is binding. So what that does is it still works, but it makes the motor work harder, which causes the motor to overheat. And so you want your motor and the gear trains and the differential to work at the maximum level. That way the car doesn't overheat and everything lasts longer. So we're going to take this all apart and we're going to look at it, and if it can be just oiled and repaired, I'll do that. But I also purchased some metal differentials. I don't have them in front of me, but I'll show them to you. I purchased these are plastic differentials. If you look at the cups here, you can tell that they're plastic. And so I purchased the metal differential for the front, the rear, and the front. And that's going to be that project. Okay, so let's get started by talking tools. Tools. When you first purchase your RC car, they give you tools similar to these. They give you some screwdrivers. They give you some universal wrenches. These wrenches have 4 sockets on them for various purposes, mostly wheels. and they give you a little brush. So this is very generous. At least, once again, we're dealing with the Chinese cars. I can't say what the other manufacturers give you, but in most of the Chinese cars, this is what you get, which is fine. For starters, you can get a lot done with these tools. However, as you do more repair, it's better to get tools that are to work more efficiently. I'll say that. They work more efficiently and are more durable. So I have a toolbox. Let me show you my toolbox real quick. This is my toolbox, and we're going to pull some of the tools out of it that I use on a regular basis. So in terms of these wrenches, I don't use these anymore. I have these wrenches right here. These do the same thing as these, and took me a while to figure out the sizes, but I did. This one, let me get the camera straight. All right. Okay, so this one is a 9/32 socket wrench. Okay, or a hex, or a nut driver. It's actually a nut driver or a nut wrench. 9/32 right here. This one is a 7/32. So this one is the same as this part of it for the larger wheels, and this one is the same as this part for the smaller wheels. In terms of screwdrivers, this is what I use. The larger one is a number 2 screwdriver. It's 4 inches long, but the key, the most important part, is the number 2. And that's a little bit larger than this, but I use it for probably more screws than the other one, which is number 3. This is the number 3 screwdriver. It's actually, I'm sorry, it's 3 inches. It's number 1. This is the number 1 screwdriver. So the numbers correspond to the heads and on top of the screws. And so when you have a larger one, it's number 2. Smaller one is number 1. This is 3 inches long. This is 3 inches long here. Get back a little bit. There, that's better. Okay, so we got these covered. And in terms of the little broom they have, I have some better ones. Because this little sweeper cannot get everywhere. It does good, but it doesn't get everywhere. So I have a toothbrush. Not really sophisticated, but it works good. And I have a little type of whisk. I got this at the automotive repair place like Kragen's or AutoZone. And I also have tweezers. So you may be asking, why do I have tweezers with the brooms? Well, that's because quite often when you're working on the cars, or when you get finished running a car, you get, if you run in grass, you get weeds and grass all in here. And sometimes you really can't get them out. You can't blow them out. You can't sweep them out. So tweezers are good because you can reach into these tight places and pull those weeds out. So these are some large tweezers. So I recommend getting something like this. Other tools I have wire cutters. Very important. You may not use these for the everyday maintenance of your cars, but if you're making modifications or changes, you need a good pair of wire cutters. I also have needle nose pliers, and I have the angled needle nose pliers. These are the same as these, but they have an angle, so if you have to reach down or reach to the side and pull something, very handy. And what else do I have? Okay, I have wire strippers. Whenever you're working on a project, inevitably you're gonna have to strip some wire. So these came from Harbor Freight. In fact, most of these came from Harbor Freight. Pittsburgh is a Harbor Freight brand, so I got the wire strippers, the diagonal cutters, and the screwdrivers all from Harbor Freight. The nut drivers I got online, and I had a little trouble finding them. They get to be pretty expensive, but I believe I got these from eBay. But these are the sizes you want. And what else do I have? Oh, this is important. I have hex drivers. These hex drivers are the same thing as hex keys, except they're not keys, they're drivers. So you can get a good grip on them. So with these, they work much better than the hex keys. And I got a whole kit that has many more sizes than these. However, I don't use any of them. So these are the ones, if you can't have to get them individually, you want to get 1.5 millimeter, 2.0 millimeter, and 3 millimeter. It's interesting because these are metric and the nut drivers are standard. I tried the metric nut drivers, but the standard ones work better. Another thing you may want to strive to put on your parts list is a general screwdriver kit, or sometimes they call them a jeweler screwdriver kit. But basically what this is the various screwdrivers. I think this might be better. Screwdriver tips for miscellaneous types of screws. So you have the Torx ones here, which they sometimes call the star. You have different size flatheads, and you have some hex drivers, and you have some Phillips, and some let's see, some more hex drivers, which are hex keys, and then you have some specialty ones. But this is nice to have, and it has its own holder. So not something you'll be needing right away, but as you work on projects, you'll definitely need different types of tips that may not be readily available. Other things that are handy are a large pair of pliers. These pliers, even though they're rusty, they have a nice wide bite to them, and so and the tips are flat. They have flat tips on them, so they can cover a wide area. So these are I found to be pretty useful. And a utility knife. So you never know when you need to cut something. There's all kinds of different utility knives, so it doesn't have to be like this one. And scissors.